Hi, and welcome to Beyond the Pelvis. I'm Laura Haraka, a somatic practitioner, breathwork facilitator, and someone who's been on the healing journey myself. I know what it's like to live with chronic symptoms and feel disconnected from your body, and I also know how powerful it can be when we start to listen, slow down, and heal from the inside out. On this podcast, we talk about the mind-body connection, nervous system healing, pelvic health, and all the messy, beautiful layers that come within learning to trust your body again. Whether you're brand new to this work or deep in your process, I'm so glad you're here. So let's dive in. So welcome back to Beyond the Pelvis. Today we're joined by someone whose journey through chronic pain has shaped not only her life, but her purpose. Jeni Quigg is a licensed mental health counselor who lived with neuroplastic pain for 23 years. Her own recovery became the foundation for the work she now does, supporting others in retraining their brains, healing their nervous system, and moving from suffering to freedom. She specializes in helping people understand the connection between chronic symptoms and early life adversity, blending compassion, neuroscience, and mind-body tools to create real, lasting change. Jeni's mission is to walk alongside others as they step into their lives filled with more joy, laughter, and ease. Welcome, Jeni, to the podcast.
Laura, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be with you.
Yes, I'm excited to have you here with us today. And Jeni and I met last year at the Chronic Pain Conference in Colorado.
Yes. It's coming up. We're
Yes.
both going, yes?
We are both going, so it's going to be an exciting time.
Good.
So I'm wondering if you can just share a little bit about yourself and what brought you into this space.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's see. So I was getting my master's as a marriage and family therapist a billion years ago. And I was laughing that my was in narrative therapy and it was in medical family therapy. And I was specifically learning about the mind body connection. We didn't know what that meant 30 years ago. We just didn't, we had no, like Aboriginal cultures that we borrow all the, the original cultures, right? Clearly still have a mind body. They're holding that wisdom for us, but Western medicine has forgotten that we're both a mind and a body, right?
Exactly. I've never even heard the term 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's like we get nervous, we get, stomach upset. It's connected. So yeah, in my master's program, I got in a car wreck. I didn't even go to hospital, right? I never recovered. No one told me bodies heal. And even though I was studying about mind body, but again, we didn't know, it just was it seemed so structural. I got in a car accident, right? But like 23 years of never recovering, like that's not a thing. Like injuries heal, and no one told me that. And got all these crazy diagnoses over the years. Like they thought I had rheumatoid arthritis because all the inflammation on my x-rays was just so intense. I mean, this doctor was just pale, and they were like, basically like, you're effed, like you're like, and I was only in my 20s, right? And ankylosing spondylitis, like they were trying so hard to help me understand why my body was hurting so bad and that I didn't recover. But what had happened is the injury had healed, but I didn't know, and the pain just kept going on. And so 23 years of my life, and as you know, with mind body stuff, it just switches and starts moving around and gets worse and worse and worse to where, it turned into, it felt like my spine was being twisted in a vice. Like I couldn't wear clothes. 6 years ago, I couldn't walk more than 3 blocks.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it defined my life for
And this was all sparked from the accident.
Yeah. Well, because this is where my specialty is, right? Is that intersection of childhood adversity and pain, right? So what I would have given a true diagnosis of is a childhood that had a lot of adversity in it. Right. So a nervous system stuck on high alert for a really long time. And I can see the digestion issues that I had as a child. I guess that was the big one. That was a really, really big thing in my life. But it started from there. And so that rewiring has been so incredibly important to my healing journey. So being able to rewire and like my nervous system and help it be resilient and help it to have processed, like all of that was a really, really important part of the journey, obviously. We'll get into like how grateful I am for this work, because the quality of my life now is, and I don't know about you as well, but I think what this work does right, is like the quality of my life is so ridiculously better. Like
Right.
the way my brain hunts for what is beautiful now,
Mm.
right? The way my nervous system knows how to feel safe. Like all of these things have created this beautiful life. So honestly, Laura, I hear it's like I didn't birth children, but I hear it's like having children. Like I don't remember the pain anymore. I am
Right.
right now, and we'll get into that as well. I'm having flare up this morning. That I just don't remember it. And it's kind of nice to be going through a flare up right now, going, oh yeah, this is what my clients go through, right? So it's good for me to remember how this goes, but and then how to work it through again. So yeah, does that make sense? Like,
Yeah. And it's so important to talk about childhood adversity because it
yeah,
primes the brain
yeah.
for later in life. And I was wondering
Yeah.
if you could just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, yes. I mean, you can imagine these little nervous systems that don't have a way to process what's going on, right? They don't feel like you have enough support in life, right? It feels this sense of disempowerment, right? Like you just feel like you can't control anything and you can't get anyone's attention to say, hey, I'm really hurting here. Please fix it.
Yeah.
Because you're
Yeah.
little, you're
Yeah.
little, right? And so that's a lot of the work that I do is really connecting people to their own inner loving adult, this part of us that just can handle everything and the very best parts of us that feel that calm, IFS, internal family systems, will talk about that calm, clear. I talk about it as ease. And so teaching people, I'll be teaching for Curable soon. We're going to do the
Nice.
loving adult of really connect. So you like to know, I mean, it changed my life. We feel safe when we're connected, when we feel
Mhm.
connected, right? Like our brains are built for connection. If we're a baby in the wild,
Right.
and we don't see an attachment figure, right? It's like you could be eaten by a tiger. It's
Yeah.
very threatening to feel alone.
Yeah.
And that's what childhood adversity, one of the things it does is I think we all as a human species feel alone, but it takes an uglier turn, I think, with all the childhood, the ACEs, right? The
Right.
childhood adversity and so in the trauma pieces. And so being able to have that connection to my own loving adult, right? That just like that constant, I can tune to that at any moment, drop in, feel snuggled, feel that connection, right? And then what's beautiful is then you know how to get it. And so then guess what? All my friends and my partner and all these like now I have this beautiful and a beautiful relationship with my parents as well. Like, my mom was a teenager. Like she did her very, 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 very best.
Right.
And so, so just creating all this beauty and connection in the relationships that I have now. And then that actually, right, adds to a beautiful life too. So,
Right.
yeah. So dealing with our childhood adversity can be a big piece for a lot of people. So that's the clients that come to me. So I teach for Curable, the app, and then I consult for Well Bodies, Alan Gordon's, one of their offshoots of their psychotherapy. And who gets sent to me, and then I have my own private practice. And then who gets sent to me is that intersection when the brain's been on high alert for way too long.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a lot of childhood adversities myself, and I never realized until doing this work
Yeah.
what an impact it had on the
Yeah.
way my nervous system
Yeah.
developed. And I'm pretty open about talking about my own childhood adversities. There was a lot of yelling in
Yeah.
my house. So it
Yeah.
also, besides needing support, which I agree, it's so
Yeah.
great that IFS work. I'm a somatic experiencing
Yes. Yes.
practitioner, and I've learned how to love myself and have my own support
Yeah.
system, within myself.
Yes. Yes. Game changer, right?
Exactly.
That ability to, because all of this work that we do with the mind body retraining and rewiring, the neuroplastic stuff, is all about that, feeling safe. It's about reducing fear,
Mhm.
right? It's actually not about the symptoms. It's helping the brain and the nervous system feel safe in order to then stop the alarms from going off, right? So it's like when you do that work with, and I just would love to hear more someday. Someday we need to just like maybe with the conference, I want to hear more about how you do it, of just how do you teach the nervous system to feel safe? And now I'm actually working on, because I worked so hard to help my system feel safe. Well, now I'm having to help it tolerate excitement, challenge, right? Like I went too far the other way. Like I had made such a beautiful, peaceful life to manage symptoms, right? Where my life just got so slow and so lovely. And it was filled with just watching bunnies, which I still do, and it slows your life down so much so you can heal with all this stuff. But now I'm realizing I got to challenge I got to come back out into the world. I've got to, right? So I actually even took self-defense jiu-jitsu. Like I allowed someone to hurt my body. I was like, what is happening? And now I'm doing weights and, and my nervous system is resilient so I can go out. I've, into big crowd. Like I've gone to big, huge concerts now, or even the farmer's market. Like my nervous system, it had gotten so where it needed such quiet that then it got a little too understimulated to be able to tolerate. So now I teach people like we also have to be able to be okay in dysregulation, in chaos, in right, and still feel safe. So
Because it's okay to be dysregulated.
that's right. We're going to be. We're absolutely going to be. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
part of the human experience. It's part of what our nervous system does. And it's so funny because you were mentioning bunnies, but one of the things I do is I go outside and just look at the birds.
Yes.
And
Yes.
sometimes I think I get so calm that my kids will say to me, Mom, do you even have a pulse?
See? Exactly.
So I'm just kind of curious because we need our sympathetic nervous system. We need to get activated. And then we need to show our nervous system that that's safe. And our nervous system now can go back down and
Yes.
regulate.
Yeah.
So how did you do that? How did you get yourself to go out and do more things?
Yes, yes, great question. I mean, our own coaches, right? So that, but when I first started this healing work, what I would do is it had gotten to again where I just was too afraid to even walk. And so I would go for a couple steps and I'd feel the fear come up. I'd feel the pain come up and I would stop. And I would just, if you rub right here, it lights up in the same part of the brain as getting a hug, right? I do this and then I generate warmth.
And I'm just going to pause you for a second. For those of
Yeah.
you that are just listening, Jenny was just rubbing her heart.
Great. Thank you, Laura.
Yeah.
So yes, rubbing my heart, rubbing that upper chest area, just so deeply soothing. We've been rocking and petting ourselves for the beginning of our species, right? These are deeply calming. I'm sure you know way more about this than I want to hear. So I would take a couple steps and I would rub my chest and then I would generate warmth and like light and like feel that safety. So teaching my body to feel safety. And then I would open my eyes and find something beautiful to land my eyes to land on. And then I would take a few more steps. And I just kept building my resilience to going farther and farther and farther. And the other thing is then I had never read Harry Potter.
Neither have I.
I don't know, they really did it for me. I really enjoyed that. And so then when I started being able to walk further, I found that as a deep with the headphones, and like walking and like that deep just enjoyment, like pairing enjoyment with walking so that my nervous system had that like support, but also like a little bit of a distraction because I was so engrossed in the audiobooks. And
Right.
so those are some of the techniques that I applied in that. And then now what I'm doing, I'm working with an embodiment coach, and we're really working on helping me and I'm working with physical therapy or like trainers, I get physical trainers as well, to where this meet your resistance, go that one step beyond, right? Grow your ability to push past where my nervous system wants to stop.
Right.
Right. So even taking that jujitsu class, some moments I was just like paralyzed for a few moments. And I'd have to do the breath work, do all that safety work of just again rubbing my chest, feeling that warmth and being like, you are safe, you are strong. Right. And now you're going to let someone flip you onto the ground.
Right.
So bodies tweak and they do all the things. So this really, so I've done some amazing things, like did the Manitou incline after our retreat when I was in Colorado. Did this crazy Manitou incline with my sisters who are both super athletes. Just really pushing my body and my mind to be able to say, we got this. And that reminds me of one of my favorite techniques in mind body training that we've learned, the bring it on.
Yes.
Yes, like where we really go into something, we make it peak with joy. Like only if you can do it like with joy, like bring it on, bring on these sensations, bring on this fear and really go for it with joy and like bust through it. And your brain goes, I can't, you called my bluff. You
Right.
called my bluff,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so being able to work with these things is just like, oh my gosh, not only did I get my life to a beautiful place, but now I can do things that used to shut me down and I was afraid to do.
Right.
Right? And that happens in my in my relationships too, like because I can say scary things. I can say hard things to get
Mhm.
that love and connection. Like it translate into every area of your life of just being able to meet where your nervous system wants to stop and go just past it.
It's true. I love what you just said. This can go into every area of
Yeah.
our life,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
just pain, because
It's
I share
everything.
this with my clients as
Yeah.
well. And I love how it was such a beautiful way that you went through the fear, stopping, and looking at
Yeah.
something beautiful.
Yeah.
And I love to give the listeners, suggestions and
Yeah.
tips that's something they
Yeah.
might try.
Yes.
And one of the things that I did to help retrain myself was just some graded exposure.
Yes.
I couldn't sit. It was one of my diagnoses was pudendal neuralgia.
Yeah. Ouch.
Yeah. So I literally got a soft seat on my bike
Yeah.
and then I started going around my cul-de-sac on lap
Yes.
and then celebrating it, like giving myself
Yes.
a high five.
Yes. Yes.
Great job. And this was back in 16,
Yeah.
before there was so many resources now on
Yeah.
the internet. And
Yes.
I gradually showed myself how to ride a bike again. And now I can ride anywhere. I'm sitting here right now. I have no sitting pain, whatsoever. And it's what you also said was so great, how you paired it with something joyful, a
Yeah.
time that was, maybe scary to you or fearful.
Yeah.
And I used to get pain at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? It can be so on the clock.
It was so on the clock. And I had a client actually yesterday that has the same thing. Hers
Yes.
is like 3:30, right? So
Yes.
we paired it at 3:20. She's going to put on some beautiful dance music,
That's right.
start
Yes.
singing.
Yes.
And that's what I did.
Yeah.
It was actually, I don't want to call it a distraction, but it was more like breaking a habit.
That's right. Right. And music, as does that so beautifully. It lights up the whole brain. That's what I
Hmm.
did this morning. Just put on, I keep a happy playlist. And it's
Yeah,
just like music that immediately just brings me joy. And I can't help but smile and tap and move and feel safe and feel embodied. Yeah.
exactly.
I love this. I love this. I love what you do for your clients. I love it.
Yeah. And there's so many more things because
Yeah.
now that I'm an SEP, we've
Yeah.
learned how to, be with fear in the body.
Yeah.
And there's so many different techniques.
Yeah.
So if what I said doesn't resonate, what Jenny said doesn't
Right.
resonate,
Yes.
there are many options out there to work
Yes.
with fear.
Yes. Keep going. Keep finding your people of what resonates with you. And then, and I guess I would say though, too, like I always tell my clients, the tools aren't the thing. They're not the thing. It's trying to point your body to learning the thing. Right. The end result is a reduction in fear, a felt sense of safety. So, right. So, the tools, it's not about the tools. It's about using the tools. Because I say, right, I think many of us do that. This is like teaching the body to ride a unicycle. It's like your body, my brain can't even fathom how my body would figure out how to do that.
Right.
You might get some coaching, you might get some tools, you might get some techniques, you might hear about it,
Right.
but it's the getting on the bike and trying and then being okay with it, like falling over or whatever, and keep trying until the body figures out how to feel safe. So these tools are all just a point, right? They're just a point, teach how to help the body learn to feel safe.
Right. And, let's talk about that for a moment.
Yeah.
Did your body feel safe right away? Like sometimes people will see me for one session, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, well,
Yeah.
I'm still in pain.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
it's a process. I'm wondering if you can talk
Process.
about that a little bit with your own process.
Well, we were laughing before this that, I'm having a flare up this morning and I haven't had this flare up for, I honestly think maybe 15 years, Laura. Like,
Oh
I
my
think,
God.
like, this is the original of the car accident of the low back pain, right?
Mm,
And so I just have to laugh. Like, that's such proof of the mind body. Like, why this morning? Because I'm so excited to be here.
right.
Right? That the body and it just lit up. That's called that priming of pain, right? It just lit up
Yes.
that old pathway, just lit it right on up. And so, yeah, so what did I do? I did my breath work, right? I put some music on. I let the tears come. I put on that song Rise Up, like I'll rise up and I'll, we'll do this 1,000 times again. And it even talks about walking. And so I just had to laugh. I'm like, this started with walking, right? And so it's just being able to have those tools of how my body knows how to come out of fear. Right. And now feeling the connection with you, like it's gone down to like a level 2. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so true. Like we regulate with each other.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And that's why it is so important to kind of have that individual handhold at a certain part of the journey, I think. So I'm so grateful for what you do, what I get to do. I don't know. I wish so much that people could see it from our eyes, because we see people get better all the time, right? And even, start thriving. That's what really, like you said, like this work affects every area of your life. It changes everything.
So when you first had this little flare up this morning, right?
Huge flare up, Laura.
Huge flare up. Okay, let's
Huge
go to
flare up
you.
this morning.
Yeah.
Honestly, like,
Were you scared?
yeah, I really was this time. Yeah. I don't know. Again, like I love that my clients push back on that, because sometimes fear isn't the right word. Disappointed, sad that it would come this morning, right? Like, so it was more like that frustration that we can, like, really? But it was scary because I haven't felt it in so long, that it was like, what? And then it's painful, right? But this is why we teach our body to feel safe outside of all of this, right? So that we've got the tools ingrained when we get to these kind of moments. We have bodies, right? Like this started because I'm lifting weights now and I don't know what I'm doing. And I did it wrong. I haven't done them for, 30 years. And so, so now I'm going to go get a physical trainer and learn how to do it smart. But bodies have tweaks. It's okay to have strained a muscle. It's okay. Right. This morning, because I was so on the mend, just so proof of mind body, that I was so excited to do this and be here, that it's just like, I'm just going to light you up.
Yeah, yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Right?
And it doesn't mean that you're having a relapse.
No. Yeah. No, I know. That's what's fun is, once you really get it and you keep thinking this way, you keep listening to podcasts, you keep, right, helping the brain understand what it's doing, right? Then you go, I'm not afraid of relapse at any shape or form. And then what I laugh, like my system, when I need to process sadness, will feel like a sinus infection.
Right.
It took me years to stop going to the doctor to see if I had a sinus infection. So now what I'll do is I'll give it 5 days, work with our tools, work with our, get some connection, process emotions, right? And then we'll see. And then it resolves, So it takes a bit to learn like how our body just can grab anything and create any sensation. And it more has to do with processing emotions than it does.
And it's so cool that you figured out that when the sinuses are clogged, that means there might be an emotion of sadness that's repressed.
That's right. Yes, yes. And then when we dig deeper, I'm finding it's often anger. So
Exactly, exactly. And I don't know about you, but listen, flare-ups are completely normal. I don't care if you're a
Yes.
mind-body coach. I don't care if you're a therapist.
Yes.
It's part of being human. So
Right.
if we could just even talk about that for a moment, that it's okay to have a flare-up. It doesn't mean you're in chronic pain when you have one flare-up.
Yeah, no. It was so fun this year with my doctor. He's like, I had all my diagnoses over the years. And I was just like, I don't have any of those. Can we start deleting those? And he's like, sure. We just started deleting them all. Like, I know that I'm fine. We have bodies. We are a mind-body connection. We have these old pathways. They can get relit up. It's okay.
And they can get relit up by an emotion. They can get relit up by a date.
Yes.
A smell.
Yes.
Something that we, see.
Yeah. Happiness. How many times do we have people that just got married and then their body has chronic pain, right? Starts that chronic pain journey, right? Beautiful things that happen, right? It just, the brain is like, that's what I'm just really honestly enjoying what the brain can do. It is so beyond clear to me what it did this morning. You're just like, wow, you are awesome and amazing. And therefore I'm going to learn to also use you to, change this too.
Exactly, exactly. Because to be honest with you, the brain is doing everything it's supposed to be doing.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
For those of you that are listening too, and maybe you'll get a flare up.
Yeah.
We don't even need to call it a relapse. Normally, if
Yeah.
we can just use the tools, be with it for a
Yeah.
day or two, it will fade away. But when you're not used to having chronic pain, you
Yeah.
said this is,
Yeah.
you haven't had this
I haven't
symptom
had,
in
no.
a really long time. Sometimes when the pain comes after not having it for a long time, it can
Mhm.
feel louder.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yes. I love that. Yes. Yes. Because that felt loud this morning.
But because we're not used to it.
Yes. Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that.
And
Thank
then
you
the
for
fear
saying
goes up, which makes
yeah.
it feel even louder.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But the
Yeah.
cool thing is you were able to work with it.
Yes. I know, right? I wish this for everyone. I wish this for everyone.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
right. You're reminding me of like I have my clients like rate the pain
Right.
or the sensation depending on where we're at in their journey of how they're languaging it,
Mhm.
but also rate the emotional resistance to it or the fear, right? And you can see the difference. And I would say my fear again, and how what we discover is my fear was higher even than the pain. But then that sends in that pain fear cycle, right? So then the pain was like, oh, I'll rise to meet you then, right?
Right. Yeah.
Then
So
dance.
I'm kind of curious too. We talked about child
Mm.
adversity, and that's one of
Yes,
your specialties.
yes,
And lots of people do come to us with childhood adversity, and
yeah,
some
yeah,
don't. Some it
yeah,
starts
yeah,
later in
yeah,
life.
yes.
But I'm kind of curious about other things that were happening in your life that attributed to this pain coming. Was
Yeah.
there a lot of self-care or compassion for yourself growing up?
Yeah.
Has that changed now?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, my body's protection mode is disassociation, right? It would just
Mm,
check out. So I honestly, but like what kid really knows? This is why I'm loving the coaches that are coming in that are starting to work with children and teens. I'm like, thank you so much. During COVID, I was seeing children with mind body stuff, and I'm just like, oh no, too young, too young.
yeah,
Let's
yeah,
Right. So, but I mean, so I wouldn't know. I don't think I would have known to self-care. I was pretty checked out.
yeah,
And so getting in my body and then, but that joy, this is a journey about joy, isn't it? It
yeah,
really, really is. And even I'll tell my clients about self-care because that's usually the place we start and it's so hard, but it's again to teach the body how to feel good and
yeah.
teach like that you matter. If we don't matter to ourselves, right? Then why does the body need to be on board?
Mhm.
Right? So self-care is about being able to say that I matter to myself. And so, yes, so you get really good at self care. It's still, again, not the thing, it's just pointing you to the thing of that it's really good to start loving yourself and giving yourself experiences of joy. And then, even more so, learning to cultivate joy. Like, I get more juice out of watching bunnies or hummingbirds, right, than now going to a spa day, right? So, but spa days are still lovely and
They're
wonderful.
great. Yeah, spa days are great.
Yes,
That doesn't
yes,
mean,
yes,
but, it's about going back to your life after the spa. And if you're
yeah,
going back into
yes,
tension and
that's right. Yes,
stress,
yes,
you
yes,
need to
yes.
have tools how to handle that
Yeah.
tension and stress and let your body come back down.
Yes. And here's where I'd say though, like I got so into self-care that then I got afraid to even leave my home because I could do such good self-care in my home, right? So the challenge for me is how do I take all this love and connection that I now have with self out into the world? Really important to get back out there. I'm an introvert, so like I'm always gonna love my my alone times and my home, but I have that nervous system flexibility now to go out and enjoy picnic with friends. And, I mean, just even sitting on the ground on a picnic blanket is just such a joy, right? Because
Right.
that was one thing you couldn't do. And so yeah, so self-care is so important and self-love. And I really see my clients, no matter if they like it or not at first, that dancing really does make a huge difference of that joy, of just creating joy and that embodiment. And yeah, am I answering your question?
Yeah, and I'm just curious. So you said
Yeah.
dancing. Was
Yeah.
dancing a part of your journey?
Oh yeah, I dance 3 or 4 times a week. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And it's just so nice to be able to do that again. But even in like just this morning in dealing with the fear, it's just, process the emotions, have the tears, and
Mhm.
now put on those songs that just lift me up and I can start moving again and feeling that yumminess in my body,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's not, about gaslighting ourselves when
Right?
we're
I just want to make that clear because, and I
Yeah.
know that's not what you're
Yes.
saying in any way,
Yes.
shape, or
Yes.
form.
Yes.
It doesn't just because I danced too. So it
Yeah.
wasn't like, oh,
Yes.
I'm having pain. I'm just going to dance it away.
Yes.
I'm just
No,
going to look at bunnies or
that's
birds
right.
all day.
Well done. No, really, really, I tell my clients, we're not gaslighting ourselves here. We are sitting beside it. We
Yes.
process the emotions, and right beside them is this resiliency. It's like just like we do with children when they get hurt, it's like, love, come here. Come in
Yeah.
for a snuggle. I'm
Yeah.
attuned to you. I'm with you while you're hurting.
Yeah.
Okay. And then kids just bounce up when they've had enough snuggles. They just bounce up and start playing again. That's what our nervous system should be able to do too. So it's that bouncing up after we've connected to ourselves or we've reached out to a friend to get some connection, and then we play. And so we're teaching the body, because the brain, as you know, the brain doesn't care about the quality of our life. It just wants to keep us alive. So the safest place is to keep me in my house and not move,
Exactly.
right? And so teaching it, and we have to teach it to go get the good stuff, right? It only needs to hold on to the negative to keep us alive. And so it's a false narrative that we have to then teach it. No, we also hold on to the good stuff. Why are we deleting the bulk of life, right? And focusing only on the sadness and the hurts and the pain and right? We're deleting all of the other parts of life. And so what I'm asking people to do is just attend to both. Attend to both, and then be judicious in where you're putting your focus. So we're not going to suppress. We're not going to, right? Because that causes all sorts of, that's why a lot of us got into this. Laura, I did not want to deal with my emotions, and I'm a therapist. I
Right.
teach for curable now, feeling safe with difficult emotions. And I
Right.
just, writing exercises in curable was the last thing I did.
Right.
I'm a therapist. If
Mhm.
it's hard for a therapist, it is hard maybe for all of us.
It is not easy because let's really be honest.
Yeah.
What grade in grammar school, elementary school, whatever you call it, were
Yeah.
we taught to feel our
Yeah.
emotions?
No.
Not once.
Not once. No,
Right.
no, no, no. And then for my childhood, right, like mom had so much going on. There was no, I mean, please don't have emotions. I don't have space and capacity for your sweet little emotions, right? So then I've had to do that work. I see me, I hear me. And then I've had brilliant therapists and coaches along the way as well.
Yeah, we develop these beliefs of what emotions mean. We
Yeah.
put meaning on these
Yes.
emotions and we
Yeah.
think they're bad or
Yeah.
unsafe.
Yeah.
And it's a modeling that we get. And it's not really, just so you know, our parents' fault. So I don't want people to leave here and be
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
it's their fault. They did this to me. Or the
Great.
teachers didn't teach me this. Or the doctors
Yes.
didn't know this.
Yes.
They only were going from what they learned.
That's right. That's right. And it's really okay. And, once you really, really know how to take care of yourself, it's really okay. And just like pain is neutral, emotions are neutral, right? Emotions are not, and that's why I teach that class. They seem like dragons, but we sit with them and we realize they're paper dragons.
Right.
And then you get really good and you realize, like, oh, I'm just having an emotion. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's true. Feeling emotions is one of the hardest things that I teach.
Yeah.
I teach it through a somatic lens. For me, I
Yes.
did do journaling, and journaling was a good eye opener for me.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
I was a math teacher in my first life. So I'm not a
Yes.
writer. I didn't really like to write at the time.
Yeah.
So what people say to me is they're so scared of feeling the emotion because it's
Yeah.
never going to stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to
Yeah.
be too
Yeah.
big. And
Yeah.
it's one of the things I teach every single time I have a group membership, the Pelvic Healing Circle, where
Yeah.
I help people with pelvic pain through
Yeah.
somatic tools and breath work.
Yes.
And it's one of the things we do every single circle in our live support group is
Yes.
we embody the emotions
Yes.
through a
Yes.
somatic lens,
Yes.
through a safety lens, and through support.
Mm.
Because it feels scary to people. They think it's not going to end.
Right. No, no. It really is important to teach people's nervous systems and body how to come out of emotions, right? The chemical response of an emotion is only 90 seconds. After
Yes.
that, we add story, right? So it's like, oh, being able, I mean, what you are teaching people, and especially in community, like how safe you would feel feeling an emotion while in community, that support, again, how much we feel safe when we feel connected. And so being able to say, okay, let's feel these emotions, and this is how we show that it ends, like that we come out of it. right? Where I feel like I'm either teaching people to feel emotions or I'm teaching them how to not be stuck in them.
Exactly.
And these firm containers that we can put around them with those loving containers, right? So that they're just not spilling out, that there's this, again, we want these sensations to peak and to tail off, right?
Right.
Be able to peak and tail off. And then the nervous system learns like, okay, this peaks and then it tails off. Okay,
Right. Yeah.
got it.
You know, and I love that. And I love to teach tools on here too, how we can help our clients and our people that are listening right now. And one of the
Yes.
things that we talked about actually last night in the circle
Mm.
was setting a timer.
Yes. Yes. 100%. Yes.
Just saying, I'm going to give myself
Yeah.
whatever feels safe.
That's
Maybe
right.
it's 2 minutes, maybe it's 5 minutes,
Yes.
maybe it's 10.
Yes.
And we don't want to push our nervous system. We want to ask our body
Great.
what feels good to that.
That's right. And then, like you said, when you come out of it, you celebrated. You said, "Oh, I did it.
Yeah.
I did that." And a reward of seeing something beautiful, or eating a strawberry, or whatever it is, right? Like something to celebrate. You did that. You did that.
Well, celebration is really an important thing.
Yeah.
You know, Dr. Clark was on the podcast and he said the most important thing healing from pain is joy.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
when I have done any of my coaching courses and certifications, celebrating is one of the ways we help break a habit.
Yes. Yes. Because it just interrupts and creates a new neural pathway by going, yay, woohoo.
Exactly.
Yay.
Exactly.
You did it. I mean, feel how good that feels in my body just to go, you did it. I didn't even do anything at the moment. Well, okay, I'm here, right? I did it.
Exactly. It's so
Right.
true. And it's so funny because we talked about this in the beginning. You know, did you ever hear the word neural pathway growing up?
Yeah. No, 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 nope.
Right. We've only heard negative things like,
Yeah.
and I was in a car accident at 20 years old as well.
Yes. Yes.
It was my first car, which I loved.
Cool.
Yeah. And I basically was told that my back would never be the same by doctors.
Oh.
And it's funny, my daughter last year got into a really bad car accident.
Yeah.
And my father said to me, her back's never going to be the same.
And you're like, no. Yes.
I go, don't you dare say
Yes.
that to her.
Put that into her. No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Because
No.
that thinking is what keeps
That's right.
it
That's
alive.
right. The brain only amplifies what it knows and hears, right? So we have to, and that's where it feels like it could be gaslighted, but no, we're just actually resetting to what is also true. Or what is
Exactly.
actually true.
Exactly. So I'm curious, what was like the biggest lesson you've learned from your whole healing journey?
Yeah, joy really, really is. You're probably going to start getting all of us just saying that, but it's really what it is.
Yeah.
This capacity for joy, this cultivating joy, this, because that helps us feel safe. I mean, there's so many, Laura. There's so
I
many.
know, right?
Right. But if you had, and again, we don't want to chase joy in order to fix, right? It's this.
I love that. I
learning
don't
to-
want to chase joy in order to fix.
Yeah.
Great statement.
Yeah. 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 But that is the end result of this work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's opening ourselves to the gamut of emotions that the world has to offer us in this human experience.
Yes. 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 Yes.
You know, I used to say joy. That
Yeah.
used to be my big thing. Like I'd be like, oh, it's joy. That's the main,
Yes.
that's the ticket.
Yes.
But for me now, my biggest lesson that I learned, because it changes sometimes, right?
Yes.
Is I've learned that support is so important
Yeah. Yeah.
that in
Yeah.
life we can reach out to people when we have not just chronic pain, but when we
Yeah.
need help in any area of our life. And I've
Yes.
learned that it's okay to do that. Support
Yeah.
doesn't make us weak, and it
Oh, yeah.
actually makes us feel safe with
That's
other
right.
people.
And stronger. That was my thought. I was like, but then I was like, I want to say connection.
I know there's so many, right?
Yes, but that hand holding, I'll tell my clients, like sometimes we just, at certain parts of the journey, we need someone to hold our hand to show us the way out, right? And I'm going to be teaching a class for Curable as well on loneliness as a danger signal. So, I mean, it really is an existential threat to our nervous systems to not be connected. right? So
Exactly.
being able to, so I encourage anyone who's listening to this, get in community. And that's a skill in and of itself. So patience on that too, right? It doesn't just
Hmm.
happen overnight. And it's a skill to develop on how do we create connection and how do we find people and how do we, right? So if you're not at that place at this moment, know that that's something that can be learned. It's not something that just happens, that we just
Right.
like have friends or we have these deep connections. It's like, nope, that's a whole skill in and of itself to learn that's also deeply
Yeah.
rewarding.
It really is a skill. So for
Yeah.
you to go from this little world of bunnies and birds, right, feeling
Yes,
safe,
yes,
you know,
yes.
it takes time to
Yeah.
develop that
Yeah.
skill. We don't do this
Yeah.
overnight. It
Nope.
takes time for our bodies to feel safe, and we can do
Yeah.
this in bite-size pieces. We don't
Yes.
have to do it all at once so our
Yes.
nervous system gets
Yes.
overwhelmed.
That's right. That's right. We want to grow up to that edge of resilience. Just stretch just a bit beyond it. That'll grow us. That'll stretch us. Keep
Exactly.
doing that. Few steps at a time.
Right.
Yes.
So I'm curious if there's anything that we missed
Ugh,
that you really wanted to add that you want our
yeah.
listeners to hear or
Yeah. Connect that when we talk about connection, that connect to self, learn to really deeply support yourself. Start there. Learn to deeply support and encourage and hear yourself. So that loving adult, like learn to connect to your own loving adult. So you have that solid base in which, we feel when we feel connected, right? We are braver. So start there and then the other steps will come and just keep walking, please. This work works. It just does. It's just math. It's just neuroscience. It's just repetition until the body gets it, until the brain gets it. Keep coming. Keep listening to this podcast, listening, doing the things. Yeah. And connect to yourself.
so tell me if someone wanted to find you, where could they find you?
Yes. Well, that's a great question. Me and technology still, I'm working on it. So my Instagram at Jeni Quigg Therapy, you can find me there and then you can DM me. Otherwise, what do I say my email out
You
loud?
can, yeah.
Okay. Hello at
Yeah.
jeniquigg.com. So
Yeah.
JENIQUIGG.com. I'm sure they'll be able to find through the links, Laura, but yeah.
Exactly. We'll put all the links in the show notes as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just want to thank you so much for
Mm,
being here and for your vulnerability, your
mm.
honesty, and you have such a sweetness to you, and your story is really remarkable. So I appreciate you taking this time to give our listeners these tips, tools, and share your purpose now in life.
Thank you so much. So grateful back for you. You're
Thank
changing
you.
lives. Thank you. Thank you for being on this journey together.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Beyond the Pelvis. If today's episode resonated with you, I invite you to join us inside the Pelvic Healing Circle, a supportive space for deeper healing, connection, and transformation. And if you enjoyed the show, it would mean the world if you took a moment to leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Your words help others find this podcast and remind them that healing is possible. Until next time, stay connected to your body, trust your inner wisdom, and keep going beyond the pelvis.